The PlayStation 5 is just on the cusp of being fully revealed. Despite a supposed release this holiday, Sony has been weirdly quiet about the PS5. So far, promotion has been long, kinda sleep-inducing lectures about its powerful, fast architecture, and dropping reveals on the PlayStation blog like its sexy new controller. And if recent rumors are to be believed, we might see a full reveal on said blog as soon as next month. Now, as much as I love reading about system specs and developers talking smack, all I really care about at the end of the day are the games. And while a few titles have been announced, it's not hard to let your imagination run wild with the possibilities Sony's 5th console will bring. And you know what? I think we should do a little bit of that today. This is my list of 7 crazy game predictions for the PlayStation 5. Going from 7, which is what I think is the most feasible, to 1 being the most outlandish, but not out of the realm of possibility. Now, just to be clear, this is my own speculation, straight up educated guesses, if you will, so don't take any of it too seriously. But I am hoping to drum up some fun discussion about what the future may hold. So feel free to comment some of your own wild speculations and hopes for the PlayStation 5. Alright, let's begin. PSVR was one of Sony's big leaps in this last generation that paid off handsomely. Sony has already confirmed PSVR will be going forward on the PlayStation 5, but have been unclear on whether this means an actual PSVR2 device is coming. Well, a recent video showing off a controller prototype that accurately detects your hand movement seems to be the smoking gun that more advanced tech is coming to Sony's headset. And it's not hard to imagine developers might already be spinning their wheels on how to take advantage of it. And one developer might have a game already perfectly suited to it. I'm talking about Valve and Half-Life Alyx. Since its release a few months back, Half-Life Alyx has been hailed as a VR masterpiece for its level of interactivity. Currently, it's exclusive to Steam, but Valve has not explicitly said it's not coming to PlayStation. In fact, out of anything on this list, a PSVR release of Half-Life Alyx is the most likely, considering PSVR is the top-selling headset as of 2019. Valve likely wants a piece of this pie, and having their VR killer app be a PlayStation 5 launch title would benefit both companies greatly. But how it will be released is the fun part. I think Valve will release Half-Life Alyx as part of a massive compilation featuring all of Valve's games. Half-Life, Half-Life 2 and its episodes, Portal, hell, maybe even Left 4 Dead, all updated, potentially ported to Source 2, and taking advantage of PlayStation 5's ray tracing capabilities. And to sweeten the deal, this compilation will have either the most up-to-date version of Team Fortress 2, or maybe Team Fortress 3. And what would this master compilation be called? Well, the Orange Box 2, of course. It's been a long time, but I still have memories of Gabe Newell walking onto that Sony stage to announce Portal 2 with Steam support. So hopefully that relationship hasn't soured.
I'd really like to thank everyone at Sony for not repeatedly punching me in the face.
Horizon Zero Dawn was probably the biggest surprise of the PlayStation 4 era, a critical darling and a sales juggernaut that hooked people with its beautiful post-apocalyptic world and endearing lead character. Now, I don't think it's too much of a stretch to assume Guerrilla is hard at work on Horizon 2. The real question is, what's the other game Guerrilla is working on?
We need answers.
In the recent months, there's been leaks and rumors indicating that Guerrilla is working on a second multiplayer-centric game for the PlayStation 5. Backing this up is the fact that the Dutch developer has almost doubled their workforce since the release of Horizon, but it could be argued this was to support their in-house Decima engine. However, one of these new hires was specifically a man named Simon LaRoche, who was previously one of the leads on Rainbow Six Siege, but before that worked at Guerrilla on Killzone 2. Naturally, this has sparked speculation that Guerrilla is working on a new Killzone, and yeah, that's exactly what I think they're doing. Looking at all they learned in making an open world for Horizon and considering how well Decima renders large outdoor environments, I think this new Killzone will take place in a persistent online battlefield. Not totally unlike Destiny, but it would play more similar to something like Battlefield. It would actually be a natural progression from the multiplayer of Killzone 2 and 3, which already had the player in a large battlefield that would switch up game modes in real time. Also, I doubt it would be a sequel, but rather a proper reboot taking place during the Helghast's invasion of Vecta from the first game. Now, just to cheat a little bit, it's also been rumored this second game from Guerrilla could be a new SOCOM title, which also makes sense in terms of placing a game in an open world combat zone, and I would love to see that game make a return. But I don't think Guerrilla is quite done with Killzone yet. Through PlayStation's seasoned life, Sony has produced many original IPs. Some have survived through multiple consoles, and many others have gone by the wayside. However, one of Sony's OG franchises still remains in the loving hearts of its fans. Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal has, despite a few rocky games, had a rich history on the PlayStation platform. However, the series has since been on ice since its reboot on the PlayStation 3. But with the coming of a new console, once again brings hope of seeing everybody's favorite psychotic clown. Here's the thing though, if Twisted Metal is to be rebooted, I don't think Sony is going to want a traditional Twisted Metal game. I could imagine them wanting a Twisted Metal game that takes advantage of today's current multiplayer trends. Twisted Metal could easily work as a Battle Royale game. Now, I know, everyone and their mother is making a Battle Royale, but I think it would work really nicely for Twisted Metal. You're in a huge, sprawling map of Los Angeles, on Christmas Eve, of course, and it's you against dozens of other vehicles. All you have is your machine guns and special weapons, and you're tasked with driving around the map, scavenging other parts, and destroying your opponents. And of course, last one driving is the winner. It's classic Twisted Metal deathmatch, but massively scaled up. Who knows, maybe this is just the right formula to bring this classic series back into relevance. In case you've been living under a rock, Marvel Studios has completely redefined the way movie franchises are handled forever with its epic cinematic universe. And it looks like Marvel is trying to repeat their success in video games. The ball got rolling with Sony publishing the amazing and spectacular Spider-Man game for PS4, whose sequel is likely in development for the PlayStation 5. Also coming from Sony is Iron Man VR, while Square Enix is putting out the Avengers in the coming months. Now, I am a believer that good things come in threes, and while Marvel is open to many developers handling their properties, but assuming the relationship between Sony Interactive and Marvel is still strong, I think we will see a third superhero title come out of this partnership. Who this hero could be? Well, that's the tricky part. The Avengers game is going to have a good chunk of Marvel's heroes available with their own unique gameplay mechanics, which could make the pickings slim. It could be someone from the X-Men universe, who knows, maybe Deadpool gets another shot. But if there's one Marvel hero that could work in the gaming medium, it would have to be Blade. Blade has been done before. Poorly, but a new take could be an exciting hack-and-slash shooter hybrid, maybe structured like a Metroidvania set in the dark gothic underbelly of New York. Plus, let's not forget, a Blade revival is on its way from Marvel Studios, so a video game would do much to capitalize on the character's renewed public interest. And hey, if Blade isn't your cup of tea, maybe they give another crack at the Punisher. His game wasn't too bad back in the day. In the last few years, Konami has done an absolutely splendid job of alienating its fan base and trying to find creative ways to tarnish its franchises. Recently, Konami has been in the news cycle again with rumors of a bidding war for its top franchises, Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, and Castlevania, with both Microsoft and Sony competing and conflicting reports that both companies had reached a deal. Konami has since denied all of these rumors. I'm pretty skeptical of it too. As much as I'd love to see some of my favorite franchises in better hands, I doubt Konami would ever give up these valuable properties. In fact, the whole situation reminds me of when it was rumored that Sony was trying to buy Crash Bandicoot from Activision. Whether or not it was true, it did result in Crash Bandicoot being revived and its remake being a timed exclusive for the PlayStation 4. I think something similar is happening here with Konami, and we could see revivals of all of these franchises released exclusively for the PlayStation 5, perhaps even co-developed. But while the focus is on these three, I think there's a chance a fourth beloved Konami franchise could have a quiet comeback. Suikoden. Suikoden is one of the most highly revered JRPG series ever made, especially with its legendary second game, which is still so damn expensive in physical form. But this series has been dormant since Suikoden 5. However, as of recent, the JRPG genre has been going through another renaissance. Persona 5, Dragon Quest XI, Octopath Traveler, Fire Emblem, and of course, Final Fantasy 15 and 7. All of these titles have done respectable to excellent numbers worldwide, and if Konami is paying attention, they might see that now, more than ever, would be a great time to revive one of the greats. A next-gen Suikoden with 100 new stars of destiny, a greater emphasis on base building, and a fresh battle system. It could be glorious, and it would make a lot of people happy, which sadly is something Konami doesn't seem to care about these days. With the long-awaited and leaky release of The Last of Us 2, many Sony fans will begin to wonder what Naughty Dog might do next. The Last of Us 3, a new IP, an Uncharted kart racer? Not again! Who knows? However, I think since the dog is always looking for new storytelling challenges and ways to push hardware, I wouldn't be shocked if internally they are seriously starting to consider a VR title. Now, a big reason this is so high on the list is because Naughty Dog has said in the past that they have tested ideas in PSVR. However, they would go on to say that VR was unproven, and while impressive, they wanted their main focus to remain on third-person narrative action games. Here's the thing, these quotes were from way back in 2014, around the time Uncharted 4 was announced and PSVR was still known as Project Morpheus. Since then, the VR market has grown tremendously, with numerous titles trailblazing what is possible with the technology. Half-Life Alyx, once again, is a prime example. With Sony updating the tech in exciting new ways, it's totally feasible that Naughty Dog is reconsidering VR. So, what would their first VR title be? I think it'd be Uncharted. Uncharted VR would be a very safe game for them to develop, being a recognizable brand that would sell well while also serving as a way to cut their teeth in virtual reality. The Uncharted franchise is built on strong storytelling and unique action set pieces, two things that lend themselves to VR gameplay. One moment you could have a face-to-face conversation with Sully, maybe while interacting with something, perhaps driving a boat or a car, while the next you could be climbing up a mountain having a shootout with mercenaries at the top. Even the treasure hunting aspects could lend themselves to fun possibilities. Keep in mind, the door has never been shut on Uncharted. Naughty Dog has always been vocal about the possibility of future games so long as they can do something different with it. Plus, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if Sony had a new Uncharted game around the time the movie released for promotion. Or they're doing none of this and they're just focusing on another third-person action franchise, who knows. But I wouldn't be shocked if Sony's #1 developer threw their hat in the VR ring in the PlayStation 5 generation. Here's a big question. What the hell is Bluepoint working on? For those not in the know, Bluepoint Games is a studio that cut their teeth developing high-quality remasters for both the 7th and 8th console generations. Their work includes Metal Gear Solid, God of War, Jak and Daxter, and Uncharted. However, it was their incredible remake of Shadow of the Colossus that made them a household name, at least in the Sony fanbase. Since then, the speculation on what their next game might be has been rampant. Are they working on another remake, or are they creating a new IP? Bluepoint has been more than happy to stoke this speculation as well, perhaps a little too happy, throwing up all sorts of cryptic hints on their Twitter. So far, the most infamous was this tweet. Within this mysterious tweet, Bluepoint references SOCOM, Metal Gear Solid, Siphon Filter, Twisted Metal, Silent Hill, Resistance, Demon Souls, Castlevania, and The Legend of Dragoon. This has been driving people crazy with online debates as to which of these games Bluepoint could be working on. It also doesn't help that Bluepoint has said their PlayStation 5 project will be their proudest achievement. So, once again, what the hell are they working on? Well, here's my wild theory. What if Bluepoint isn't remastering one of them, but all of them? Let me explain. What if Bluepoint is taking the most classic of classic PlayStation games and sprucing them up for modern hardware, likely through emulation, upping the resolution, cleaning up textures, adding multiple video modes, trophy support, save states, online functionality, and of course, behind the scenes. Basically, a massive project to preserve and update the quality of life for these classics, getting them into the hands of a new generation. It wouldn't be any different than what Digital Eclipse is doing with Capcom's games, or what M2 has been doing with Sega's classics on the Switch. We've gotten a little bit of a taste of this with some of the PS2 releases on the PlayStation Store, but Bluepoint's project would take it to the next level. So how would this be packaged? A disc release, or maybe another attempt at a PlayStation Mini? None of those. This will be a key feature of PlayStation Plus for streaming, included with your monthly subscription. It's not at all unlike what Nintendo is doing with their NES and Super NES streaming on the Switch. Imagine it. You open up an app, a long list of classic Sony games are present. You choose Metal Gear Solid, now optimized for 1080p or 4K, but perhaps you feel like playing it in its original resolution, with scan lines. You load up a save state, taking you back to your fight with Vulcan Raven, and when you need a break, you check out a gallery full of production artwork and behind-the-scenes photos. Of course, PS5 will still have full backwards compatibility, but this will be an extra feature meant to sweeten up PlayStation Plus. Is this likely? Probably not. Realistically, Bluepoint is probably just remaking another Sony classic. Personally, I'm hoping for a Demon's Souls remake. I just think with the competition of next-gen subscription services and Sony looking at Xbox's Game Pass and backwards compatibility, something like this, if done correctly, could be a game changer. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody else have their own ideas about what Bluepoint is doing or have their own wild theories on what could be coming to the PlayStation 5? Be sure to let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and click that subscribe button and click the like icon. I post videos weekly, so be sure to ring that bell so you are the first to know. I'm Kirk, and thank you for watching this video. Stay safe out there.